Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2 with the fastest Terran in the world in the blue, with a Frenchman from Team Liquid. It's Clem. And another week has gone by, which means his greatest opponent is on the other side, and the rank 1 Protoss player in the world, the mysterious MaxPax in the red. A best of 5 Terran versus Protoss finals, with Clem so graciously slapping down an engineering bay for MaxPax to chew on while I do a very subtle segue into begging you for likes and subscribes. And Jimmy, what are we? 1,370 likes on this video, on this cast, on this abuse of Terran power. And I'll cast another one, and I'll probably do it anyways. But thank you for watching. Hopefully you've had a good day so far. And hopefully it's about to get just a little bit better. Gets 2 probes. Gets the full health on the engineering bay. Clem, instead of just settling for delaying the Nexus slightly, instead will put it almost a minute later than it should have been. And get some workers with it as well. Almost takes a wrong turn. So that way the Adept can take it out. But the... Wow. No. The Reaper coming back in. Slaps down the Reaper blocking pylon. MaxPax doesn't want to deal with it anymore, and who would? Already enough with the engineering bay block. But he comes in, and the Reaper gets into the main. It's going to spot the Stargate, already completed. Fully operational by the time everything else arrives. Cancels the Shade. He juked the Shade, which means the Reaper comes back in for more. And oh my. The Adept can't quite close the distance. 1 HP, not another. Okay. Finally. Finally. The Reaper dies. 1 Reaper racks up 3 probes, helps delay the Nexus by almost an entire minute, scouts the entirety of the tech, ties up more units at home, and buys enough space in order... well, Clem has a worker advantage against the Protoss, despite building an orbital and a second command center. That's actually waltzing forward. I believe the Reaper saw a Phoenix producing. I'm not 100% on that. But either way, not intimidated by the threat of any Stargate units. Walks out and just guns down a Zealot. Multiple Phoenixes, but the Marines boldly going where plenty of Marines have gone before, but somehow Clem makes just so much more out of them. Well, what can one do in the face of such reckless micro? MaxPax intercepts the medevac. Well, that's certainly one thing you can do. Getting that medevac, picking up some of the Marines. Gotta be definitely careful of the Cyclone. Already doing a lot of hull damage to one of the Phoenixes, but taking out the medevac is definitely the step that MaxPax needed to take in order to try to climb his way back into this game. If Clem is able to just use the medevac, not even drop, but just as part of a small push, supporting those Marines, it certainly could have spiraled here. Picks up the Cyclone, breaks the lock, and flies away. Refuses to elaborate further. MaxPax still in a kind of an awkward spot overall, but not nearly as devastating of one, considering the Phoenixes growing in number, hasn't lost any of them, and he's up against this kind of technical push that Phoenixes are so good at picking apart. Of course, a lot can go wrong when multiple Cyclones, a bunch of Marines, and a Viking are on the field, let alone that single Widow Mine, which could potentially damage all the Phoenixes simultaneously. He's just going straight for the economy. 4 SCVs dead, but out of energy there. And that means the Phoenixes, even if they recall back, won't have energy. He's pre-pulling probes, which is not an ideal sign. There's only a single gateway. He's building Immortals, well, 1 Immortal, and Phoenixes. There are only 3 production facilities right now for MaxPax. I mean, Clem just finishing up his 2nd barracks and his 3rd in order to have that full 2-base production, but MaxPax able to deflect the follow-up aggression, catches a Viking, as Clem not really respecting the pathfinding or lack thereof of units on the ground compared to the ones in the air. Phoenixes, no Widow Mine here. The Observer, spotting everything, actually wanders into the turret. A bit lackadaisical there for MaxPax, and now without an Observer, he can't know exact... Oh, no. Widow Mine slapped 2 Phoenixes out of the sky. They come back around and pick off another. Don't quite He hit it right underneath that factory. And even if he had reacted quickly enough, I don't think he could have gotten away from the Widow Mine fire. So MaxPax's air superiority reduced slightly. And gives Clem an opportunity to potentially move out. Has he spotted the third base? No, but I think he's anticipating it, realizing MaxPax is going to want to stay as tucked in as possible. His advantage, the Phoenixes. The ability to control the skies. But on the ground, if he steps out too far, the Marines, Marauders, and anything else with the medevacs are going to easily deal with it. Tiptoeing through the gap in the mineral wall. A single adept spotting the rest of the army in the middle of the map. The first Colossus finally completes. And that is exactly what MaxPax needs in order to box out attacks on either side. Without that Colossus, the Marine Marauder medevac, I don't care if you have Phoenixes, you're not going to have enough of them to deal with the Bio Army heads up. And MaxPax, several Widow Mines, only one medevac. A precarious moment for both sides, as any of these armies could be game-winning for Clem. But if he loses either of them, either getting pounced on by the Phoenixes or just taking a straight-up bad fight, oh no. Clem, trying to get his master's degree in baiting here. Those Widow Mines tucked into the minerals in a pretty hidden in plain sight, really. Oh no. MaxPax actually skirted by and spotted the line there. So Clem, I don't know if Clem realized he spotted it, because very unlikely to get the damage done now. He's gonna come back around for more. Yep, that's still Widow Mines. Oof. I'm not 100% that MaxPax is noticing the mines locking on there. You don't get a notification until, well, they're ready to fire. He could have just been rallying it across, but able to take out one of the Vikings, just picking up whatever he can. Clem decides to come back to defend, as opposed to any sort of counterattack. So that means MaxPax gets more time to build up his economy. And right now, MaxPax up 10 workers, as the Phoenixes continue to take a toll on the relatively undefended mineral lines. Ghost Academy's on the way. 3 Vikings at a time for Clem, who now has 2 starports completed, throwing Ghosts into the mix. Ghosts and Vikings gives you coverage of, well, pretty much everything you need. The rest just comes down to micro, which I don't speak French, so I don't know if it's actually Clem's middle name, but I'm not willing to rule it out. Vikings zoning the Phoenixes. And, of course, the Vikings not bad against the Colossi as well. Some clear vulnerabilities there, but MaxPax working on the Templar archives. He's taking the 4th base at the 9 o'clock position, the mixed gold. Tucked in, but if Clem's able to get down this ramp without MaxPax being in position with the Colossi, he could just take it out before the Colossi arrive. It's also quite a choke point to fight into the Vikings. MaxPax gonna try to do so. EMP hits every Phoenix and cleans off the shields and all the energy. Meanwhile, the Nexus under fire. Vikings zoning out another EMP. When the Nexus isn't completed, you can't overcharge yet. A Warp Prism is trying to head towards the main. Templar being warped in. Nexus nearly completed. Decides not to cancel. Uses it for shield battery overcharge at that last moment. But I think it's too little and it's far too late. He incinerates a group of Marines. But look at the supply. 154 to 124. Not even remotely close here. Getting a few extra Marines. But MaxPax deciding to fight into a concave of Vikings and Marauders. The valley he decided to die in. Yes, a charge lock counterattack. The Warp Prism got into the main. Warping even more charge lots, but 11 probes dead alongside that Nexus. Chasing down the army. Clem looking the other way while he micros against the Warp Prism. The factory decided to land over here. Maybe the Phoenixes were chasing it earlier. Clearly not that interested in any more factory units, but Clem carves out a 40 supply lead. And MaxPax, well, a bit surprising he decided to commit to that fight. There wasn't anything really forcing him. It looks like he legitimately thought that he could win it, or at least take a good trade, but Clem is more than willing to throw Marines into the fire in the literal sense in order to get a better position on the map. Yes, he lost almost all of his Marines, but the Vikings and the Medevacs and the Marauders power through. Still a 30 supply gap. MaxPax working on +2 ground attack. If he can get that 4th base up and hold the next wave of Terran, which is these are simple to say, a lot harder to accomplish. Well, Clem doesn't have the upgrades for quite a while yet. He's about to finish the armor. But it's all about the unit composition as compared to the basic upgrades. If you land the EMPs and you got the Vikings in position, well, the basic bio upgrades pale in comparison. So that is why the focus here for Clem is very much on getting the right units in the right place at the right time, as opposed to some incremental improvements to them. Another Warp Prism comes in, EMP on his own orbital to deal with it, but the 4th Nexus is cancelled before it even sees the light of day. 12 SCVs dead. MaxPax trying to pick a fight. The Vikings splitting to counter the Archons. Disruptor on the deck. And Clem doesn't quite have the army supply to drive this away. Clem's forced back. The charge lot's getting 17 SCV kills, and Clem now within 10 supply. He's working on 2 too, but MaxPax is doing a great job of keeping the pressure on at home. Unfortunately, without a 4th Nexus, these trades do not end up, well, economically, it's good, but it's costing MaxPax just as much, if not more, in order to kill those SCVs, in order to send Warp Prisms and Zealots across. He doesn't have the army to easily fight Clem on the field. The Disruptors are coming up. The last Colossus. Disruptor shot fire, gets 2 ghosts, and if he had to pick any 2 units out of that composition, somehow finds nothing with a follow-up shot. Vikings hit the deck, knock out the Disruptor. Another Disruptor popped immediately. And without that splash damage, the Archons being laughed all the way back into the corner. And the Ghosts, Vikings, and Marines will easily chase them down. MaxPax was fighting on borrowed time with those. He was trading out his army composition to get economic damage. But at the end of the day, Clem's army was just better and able to run it down. In fact, MaxPax even surviving that long after the initial, how do you say, terrible fight at the 9 o'clock base is a testament to his tenacity. But Clem's not going to let that one slide. All right. God, that NG Bay block into Reaper was disgusting / inspiring. And you'll know the Terrans in the comments when they decide which one it is. Game 2, Jimmy! Thank you. Clem. A pretty textbook 1 to MaxPax's 0. It does look like Clem willing to play a longer game. The week before, if you didn't see MaxPax's stream, or my commentary version of it, Clem with a proxy Rex, early all-in, just refusing to do anything but like 1 base all-ins. Like 1.5 base. And even that last game was quite committed, but it ended up going a lot later than any single game in last week's finals. And to quote MaxPax, quote, "I don't know why he plays like this." The speculation, of course, that Clem going to play Battle Aces all day, of which he is #1 right now, which, you know, is not very surprising. Technically ranked #1 in StarCraft 2 as well, depending on whether Cyril's listed as active or inactive, based on the last time he played a match. So, what I'm trying to say is he's pretty good. I guess. But has he won a GSL? I'm just moving on. First Reaper, not going to play Ring Around the NG Bay. In fact, Clem going for a bunker back at home, meaning he wants to get all his tech up very early, and he's not going to have very many Marines with which to fall back on. He has just 2 Marines in the bunker and building a reactor behind. So that is an admission that MaxPax will take very much liberties with your base if you don't at least have some basic defense. Even Clem can't micro 2 Marines to beat an Adept. Though he'd probably get pretty close. You need 3 Marines, at least. Maybe a couple SCVs could head you, but An Adept gets into the main. Well, Hellion comes out, but it already delayed the starport. I don't think this is one of those intentional, like, no, you're locked in here with me now situations. Well, it does just die because Clem microing the Reaper on the other side. Probes pulled off the line to try to deal with it. And Adept gets in, but the Reaper still slips away. 2 probes, and the Reaper's gonna end up getting more kills than the Adept. So, oh, the Reaper's currently healing. It may survive 1 more hit. Oh, okay. Okay, citizen's arrest. The probe gets it. After 3 kills, though, and a surprising amount of mining delay. Yeah, actually, immediately reflected in the income. God, those Reapers are just... I don't know. Infuriating. / inspiring, yet again. Why don't my Reapers ever get that much damage done? Why doesn't anyone else's Reapers ever get that much damage done? Another Adept gets in. An eye for an eye will leave the whole world unable to see the shade. Well, though, here comes the medevac as both sides. 10 seconds on Blink, which means no easy way to deal with this Widow Mine for a moment. Trying to send a sacrificial probe into the gas geyser, taken out by the Marines, but Blink is done now. Can Blink and goes straight for the medevac. Is there more going on? There's a Widow Mine at the natural. It just scampered in. He just waddled in there. He's gonna kill some more probes still. That Widow Mine has not yet been dealt with, but MaxPax is handling it now. But wait, there's... Oh, the Widow Mine tried to escape the scene of the crime at the natural. 4 probes dead. But... he did lose the medevac. He did lose the Marines, a Hellion. Technically, we're counting the couple SCVs on the other side because I think they all kind of tied together during that same exchange. But now things will calm down at least, well, maybe a little bit. Robo Bay on the way. MaxPax does have his 3rd Nexus already, which means he can compound the slight probe lead very quickly, as Clem's simply not going to be able to build workers at even close to the rate. The follow-up is going to be Stim and +1 infantry weapons, but until medevacs are out in the field, these stalkers have the run of the place. Clem can maybe poke and prod, but is unlikely to be able to move out, at least for a while yet. But the Raven, instead, didn't even notice he built a Raven. I don't think MaxPax anticipating it, though the Blink Stalkers move to box it out. Gonna be stuck in the corner there for a bit, unless he decides to slap another auto turret down. Has enough energy for it. That area is very much intentionally designed to be out of range of most ground units. So that will anchor multiple stalkers back at home, while the Raven stares down at them somewhat pretentiously. Four more gates on the way. Couple sentries for MaxPax warped in. Always good to have a couple. Guardian Shield is one of the most powerful abilities in the game. It's just those sentries are made out of paper mache and dreams, both of which can be shattered very easily by high-velocity bullets. Or low velocity. Really, it doesn't matter too much when the Stim Marines are coming your way. The sentries had like 3 more range, maybe, but unfortunately, those tickle beams have to get up close. The Stalker taking the wrong path. 2 Stalkers cut down. And Clem, he doesn't have a third... Well, he does have a 3rd command center, but not landed yet. Still a precarious timing, as those gateways haven't come up yet. The Colossi don't have extended thermal lance. Clem will have the combat shield stim and +1 attack as he comes down towards the 3rd. So MaxPax... The Stalker's caught between a rock and a hard place to an extent here. Widowmine takes another Stalker out. And this army, quite a bare bones one, especially without extended thermal lance. Single charge lot, Gonna distract some of the reinforcements. More coming in. Observer in a great spot to see anything else coming out. The Raven still hanging out. The Stalkers move away. We'll see how long it takes Clem to realize and maybe send it in again. Stalker blinks away, clears up the mine, but that buys the time for Clem to move in position. He took out a Spylon. MaxPax actually supply blocked off that. Only building one more, now two more pylons. Observer in place to see if he picks up and heads for the main. 6 medevacs on the field now. Plenty of bio on the ground. And the Raven, well, it sees its opportunity, slaps down 3 turrets and guns down the battery. Well, gutting the defenses, kills a few of the probes. 3 Colossi here, which is a bit of a no-go for the bio army, even with some siege tanks behind. The Marauders might be able to make the difference. Pops the Guardian Shield. Force Field optimistic at best, zoning out the rest. Not intimidated at all, but charge lots coming in from the back. Widow Mines will blunt their effect, and the Gateway Army is completely shut down before getting even close to the siege tanks. And Clem, with just stone-cold patience, not intimidated at all by the Colossi, completely shuts down the flank and calmly takes out the base. And even though he doesn't stick around to fight, oh wow, picks up, but reinforcements can join up with the army, and Clem just making it look so difficult. He pulls back just as MaxPax is setting up another fight. He got objective complete. He denied the 4th base, and he maintained his army composition. There's no reason to keep his neck stuck out there, waiting for it to get chopped off. The Frenchman well aware of how dangerous that could be. MaxPax, same thing. Charge lots recalled out. Of course, he spotted the recall, which means now he knows that it's not available for at least another minute and a half or so. Warp Prism trying to dart in. Clem nearing a max out again. Armory is done, but no +2 upgrades on the way. Not like MaxPax is really focused on the upgrades himself. He's just now working on the +1 armor. MaxPax only +1 weapons overall. Really just focused on getting enough units to fight Clem, and so far, despite the focus, unclear whether it's going to be enough. As Clem again focuses on the 4th base. Guardian Shield. No shield battery to help out here, just gives it up. Charge lots will counterattack into the 3rd. A single Widow Mine not enough to deal with this. MaxPax is supply blocked at 151 over 149 though. And that means even though Clem is coming back to defend, the supply gap is just, oh my god. The Warp Prism at literally 1 HP. But 1 HP is still enough to pose an existential threat to the entire economy. Clem coming back to defend. That Warp Prism in the corner. Not even really showing up always on him. What? MaxPax killing his own pylons in this time of need. I don't know if they were blocking off the Colossi or something, but an interesting move there. The fact that MaxPax has survived long enough to get even close to 200 supply. Oh my god, the Raven's still alive! How are you not dead? Oh, what is this, Game of Thrones? You can't just bring a Raven in and be like, this explains everything. Well, the 3-turreted Raven comes in again. Clem losing 3 ghosts right off the front. Finally a mistake of some sort. As looking the other way as the ghosts go too far forward. Still, 1 ghost with energy for EMP. Whips it out. No more energy there. With no EMPs, MaxPax could put together an army to compete with this. He really would love a disruptor shot to land, but we all dream of I dream for 1 million subscribers too, alright? So, we'll see which one happens first. And another disruptor. Makes the Marauders work for it. But, God, that's a lot of bio. That Nexus in the way. MaxPax 0 for 2. Shaq at the free throw line with the Ruptors. Goes through the Nexus. The charge lock counter is gone down. Another Ruptor shot. Gets a couple, but it's too little, and it's far too late. As Clem absolutely tearing through him. Oh, it's just... Clem not missing a beat here. It truly feels like MaxPax not quite finding any opportunities, and Clem like a freight train. Like a freight train crossed with a ballerina. And like a rocket engine. And possibly long-range missile launchers. Well, at this point, I'm just describing like a transformer. But you know what? That's like half the mech army for Terran, so I'll allow it. Nice of me to allow me to make these comparisons. So gracious, so generous, and so ready to move on to game number 3. With Clem in a comfortable 2-0 lead. It probably won't end up being as short a series as last week, even if Clem is able to take this one immediately home, but we're working on it. It feels like you have to anticipate the kind of push that he wants to do. You can't react to it. If you're reacting to Clem, you've already lost. And honestly, that's what we see so much of the time nowadays in successful Protoss versus Terran, is forcing the Terran to react before they could even hit you first, which is very difficult considering sometimes they hit you with the first Reaper, but so far MaxPax completely unable to retain the initiative, and Clem taking full advantage. Taking a look around, maybe small chance of like a proxy Stargate or Dark Templar. We've seen it before, but God, Clem firing on all cylinders really feels like a lot to handle. Some weeks it feels like Clem just makes those mistakes that, not even lazy, just a force of habit. Like maybe not covering for a prism, or not respecting blink stalkers. But when he's just able to maximize his units like this, well, we'll see. Now he loses the Reaper before killing a probe, right? The fact he's able to get multiple probe kills while adepts are out, it's wrong, okay? The boy ain't right. Adepts supposedly the counter, or at least some sort of defense, but until they learn how to jump up cliffs and heal themselves, they're gonna have a tough time. Well, that's one way to jump up a cliff, I guess, is to bribe the SCV to leave the door open. The Reaper still gets by. MaxPax on a move command. There goes the SCV building the starport, so a slight delay on that. May get one probe kill, but no, stop right there!
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Finally got him. The probes able to turn it around by that much. Medevac on the way. But for once, MaxPax is able to keep Clem out of his base for at least a short time. Hellion trying to come around, but has already taken so much damage. I'm sure he's chrono boosting. I was sure he was chrono boosting it, but now he's chrono boosting the Warp Prism. Blank should be done. What's in the medevac? A single Whittle Mine. Still an existential threat to the Protoss, but the more important part is the medevac keeping MaxPax at bay. Once he sees it, even if Clem... So, even if he drops out one mine, he doesn't know for sure that's the end of it. Could easily be 2, 3, 4, technically fit. Yeah. The great sacrifice. Looking to zone out the medevac first. Priorities are good for MaxPax here. A Raven is headed out now. I don't know if he spotted it with the Adept. It doesn't look like it, but the Warp Prism. And now MaxPax's first opportunity to really take back any form of control of this series, but Clem already has a siege tank. He's working on Stim. He knew the blink was coming. That tech lab is exposed as we play just musical add-ons here. Stim will be denied. And, well, objective complete. Obviously, the side objective of killing a whole lot of SCVs and maybe winning the game would be nice. But I think this is what MaxPax is going to have to settle for. Working around the edges. Taking some hits from the siege tanks, but able to blink out. Kills a few more. What's going on back at home? Oh, auto turret comes in. Kills 4 probes. Slaps down a second auto turret, and this will tie up even more stalkers back at home. Well, on the bright side, you can tell MaxPax is a very famous player because he has a lot of stalkers. The bunker under attack. One SCV pulled to repair it, which seems like a checked off pulled SCVs to repair response as opposed to actually trying to keep it alive. MaxPax looks intent on blunking over the tide, goes straight for it, but he doesn't quite get in. One volley. Ghetto blinks back with the prism. The Marines no stim to fight with, getting picked apart by the stalker surround. And MaxPax now able to control the bottom of the ramp, but the first medevacs are done. That Warp Prism wandering a bit far forward. Killing any of these Marauders would be so nice for MaxPax right now. He's still compounding that worker lead. He's got the 3 bases done. The 3rd base for Clem is just now on the way. The Raven comes in again. MaxPax reacts very quickly. Stim is completed. Charge nearing it. The 4 Stalker hit squad in the main. Poking and prodding at the SCVs. Darts back. More stalkers at the front, but wandering into siege tank and marauder fire. And Clem even target firing the far stalker first to maximize that damage. Oh my. Give him an inch, he's gonna take a kilometer. Clem absolutely on point. Even though he's on the back foot right now, he's ready to spring forward. God, it's so scary when he's like this. Which is, thankfully for everyone else, not all the time. But this just feels like one of those days where Clem is, he's not slipping. He chose a build that MaxPax dealt with, and that's why MaxPax is still in a pretty comfortable spot. But by no means is he in a winning position. He's far from it. He has to defend this first siege tank attack. Clem trundling across the map. Marauders on one side, Widowmines on the other. 4th base is on the way. A clear objective for Clem at this point. Charge lots into the 3rd. Mules just dropped. So best case scenario, he has to come back to defend. And this will buy time for MaxPax to get his 4th Nexus up, to get some more upgrades, maybe another Colossus, and that extra 30 seconds or so that the lives of those Zealots just bought may make all the difference. A Dark Shrine on the way. And even though Dark couldn't be here in the European Cup today, it's good we're still paying our respects. It's a ridiculous time. I think it's like 4 a.m. Korea. Doesn't stop him from NA, but... And cancel the 4th command center. The charge lots come in. Clem comes back to defend again. MaxPax clearly getting the better end of these rotations. And Clem's like, okay, all right. That was too well timed. Scans and, well, there you go. The observer spotted and killed. Good instincts there, of course. And it looks like now Clem settling on going towards 200 supply, still looking for any opportunity by having the army kind of sitting on the high ground. But instead of expecting to kill the 4th Nexus, we'll be more focused on building the right army to win potentially any fight against any army. Ghosts and Vikings, as well as plenty of bio underneath, give you that option. It is arguably the best big game army in the game. It's also the easiest to lose if you're not paying attention for even a split second. Thankfully, that does not describe Clem, who's covered his bases. A Widow Mine and a turret, the unlikely buddy cop combo, gun down, or more exploder rate. Wow, okay. We went from barely words, well, not really, to no words at all. The War Prism died. I have spoken. Very dead. And without that prism, without the option to at least threaten a counterattack, wow, MaxPax just wanders up with the Stalkers, wandering not really accurate, but takes out the siege tank in a surgical strike. And no more tanks on the field, but the Viking count. Our Danish players should know how dangerous they are. And 8 Vikings. The force field wall! Oh my god, they did something! It's happening! He actually made force fields. Well, at least he kept them at bay. And now MaxPax is maxed out and ready to pack his bags and head for Clem's base. This is the best case scenario for the Protoss here. Well, best case scenario would be Clem with no SCVs and only Marines. And then right-click, move command while he eats a baguette. But that's not going to happen, so... a Viking still finding a nice angle. The Stalkers will get several of them. Shot from the Ruptor, the dangerous version of force fields. DT blank, ready to go. Now comes the decision on when to use it. Scan, spotting for observer, sees the army, loads up a drop, headed for the south side where MaxPax has a 5th Nexus completed now. Meanwhile, the Raven! Oh my god, the Raven's still alive! You can't keep this just as a lazy You can't just keep using the Raven to change the entire game. It's getting lazy at this point. But here we are again. The Zealot dies to the Disruptor, so at least that shot racks up a kill. Raven still hanging out in the corner. Double drop, actually scouting the base. I don't know if he knew about the Nexus, but he certainly does now. MaxPax scrambling back to defend. And Clem coming right up the center. That Nexus almost certainly going to go down. MaxPax without too many probes to lose here. Wanted to keep his army supply high, so never built that many of them. Down to 70. DT blank onto the planetary fortress. The SCVs try for repair, but the DTs slice right through it. 16 SCVs dead. More dead in the natural. A Raven still at the back. The main army for Clem. He's still maxed out, but he lost that 4th base. The Zealots are still cutting off the reinforcements. Clem was actually maxed out, so he didn't have too many reinforcements coming down for a while. He has to restart production. Oh, the recall is optimistic. Oh, Clem's army just pummels everything else at that 5th base, but the Disruptor count is so damn high. Now Clem, the Dance of Death, tries to split the difference, but those Marauders just a little too thick for their own good. Despite the hits back at home, Clem still at 188 supply. Thing is, his economy is tenuous now. Units can't necessarily be replaced. More SCVs being slaughtered by the DTs. He's going to have to use a scan. I think that's the last one, at least for now. Yes, no more energy on any of his his command centers. Orbital commands, one of those things. Raven, yep, still here. Disruptor shot, clips a couple Marauders. Another shot. Well, nothing but empty space. But the Disruptor count is so damn high. And in this scenario where he can literally put his back up against his own base. The Disruptors. Oh, well, maybe don't hit your own Zealots, but still, more shots coming out. And Clem doesn't have the luxury of time. 3 disruptors at a time from MaxPax. Well, can you dodge 12 of them, Clem? Maybe. If anyone can. But Clem, his army supply is so massive. His SCV count down to 32. The medevacs headed to the other side. 40 of that army supply working on it. Big hits coming through. Clem on his own turf right now, being lit up by the disruptors, but still somehow enough of a standing army to drive back the Protoss. The Liberator siege up, covering each other's metaphorical flying backs. Clem is down to 22 workers, but still finds an opportunity to hold. The charge launch going to work. Another base taken out. And MaxPax is driven back down to 4 Nexi. Clem, only 3 bases on his side. But somehow, he's been wielding this army supply to such great effect. He's got 16 medevacs, which is too damn high. He's lost so much on the ground. Still back it up. It's 3-3 versus 3-1. This bio army can easily gut any sort of gateway army. And another army is coming down. It's not over yet. MaxPax has eliminated almost all of Clem's economy. But even on the stimulus package of mules and a handful of SCVs, he's still managing to put enough on the field. There are now 9 disruptors. And somehow, it's not enough. Recalls, some stalkers. I think he spotted this with an observer. Is able to gun down one of the medevacs. Didn't actually target fire the other. The bio army will fall out. Leads into a disruptor shot. And now Clem starting to suffer heavy losses on both sides. That drop was optimistic. MaxPax spotted it. And he earns a GG. But oh my, Clem still so dangerous. It wasn't even the disruptors that quite do it. It was the greed on that final drop. I think Clem feeling a bit more pressure than maybe he needed to. But of course, when you only have 28 SCVs and 3 bases, even mules won't sustain you forever. Well. MaxPax strikes back, but it, like pulling metaphorical teeth, or whatever the Protoss equivalent is. Certainly not that, as Protoss, of course, don't have any dentists. And that's because they don't have mouths, obviously. God. Do I need to spell everything out for you? Because I'm not confident I can. 2-1. We're going into Site Delta. The probe voicing its displeasure, once again metaphorically. Making sure the SCVs suffer maximum workplace harassment. SCVs try to drive the probe away. Is it a... no. Marine first. Doesn't stick around with the probe to find out for sure. But Clem hiding the Marine unless he knows he can kill the probe because he doesn't want to give away the fact it's not a Reaper. God. MaxPax building disruptors 3 at a time and still almost coming up short. That is... I don't know. Well, all I know is Clem needs to make sure he has insurance on those risks. Considering the way he plays, well, both StarCraft and Battle Aces and Stormgate, the amount of mileage he can get out of individual units in these RTS games, the timing. He does the same thing, if you haven't seen any Battle Aces yet, no matter your opinion on it, you could definitely agree. It's a very micro-intensive game. And Clem doing the exact same thing as he does in StarCraft, the unit called the Gunbot, which has the same range or so of the recall unit, but he abuses the animation time of the attack to literally dart in, get an attack off, and get out of range before the comparable unit can attack back. All his years of training with Reapers has trained him for this, where a unit of the same range can't even touch him, because his micro is just that good. And the window for that is like 0.1 seconds. Okay, like... It's in the fractions of a second. If that, so... Okay, that doesn't make any sense. That just... You get it. You got it. Why is the... Now the Adept got it. Why did... Somebody needs to... Whoever's manning the supply depot toll booth needs to make sure the thing is closed by the time the Adepts get in. Thing is, though, feels like it never gets enough damage to really make the difference. And then he's guaranteed the Adept is dead. Though I am pretty convinced it's an accident each time. It's just one of those happy little accidents. It's not a mistake, okay? Worst case scenario, he loses a couple SCVs, but the Adept is dead. So... there's upsides. And now we have... It's Cyclones. 2 Cyclones, a medevac, and 14 Marines. Sure. We'll call it an attack timing. Blink is done. He's gonna go ahead and dodge some shots with the medevac, because of course he is. Meanwhile... come on, guys! Popping into the Warp Prism, dodging shots with the medevac, healing the Marines. No shield battery. Blinking back. Cyclones, looking for more. Microing into the medevac, but doesn't quite pick it off. 9 probes dead. And he gets out with the medevac. I think that's a win for Clem. Not of the game, but instead, just a devastating exchange. MaxPax can't really afford to be losing probes on 2 bases. He needs to get some counter damage done. But Clem still has a Cyclone with 4 HP and 4 kills, all of them probes, still racking up more. Blinks away, or boosts away, while the Liberator sieges up in the natural. Another bunker taken out. As these two refuse to stop obliterating each other's faces. A few SCVs dead. Medevac still hanging out. Liberator was holding down the edge of the natural here. And survives. Flies right back into the dead space. Dark Shrine is on the way. The Desperation Templar. Though it very well could work. As right now Clem just building his first engineering base, but a Raven is out. Wait, did he spot the Dark Shrine? He did not. So, if he can bait the Raven. Oh, no, 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 no. I don't think an auto turret will make the difference, but he's chasing down the Prism. He's keeping the Raven at home. I think he may have anticipated the potential for Dark Templar. And the thing is, he already has multiple units on the other side ready to dart in towards the mineral line. So the Raven is not really necessary here. MaxPax Chrono Boosting a Nexus that isn't even producing. It has not been... It's been a rocky series for MaxPax. Oh my. He tried to drop a mule to save his stim. But stim gets denied. A small but meaningful win for MaxPax here. The medevac somehow slips out right behind the observer. I think MaxPax noticed. As the stalkers are moving now. These two. The Liberator tried to come back in. It looks like it took another hit or two. But still survives it. Just ever so barely. Single stalker. Hunted down. Spotted by the double drop. Immediately pick back up before the rest of the Stalkers can come down to avenge it. Charge is on the way. Charge done. Stamina +1. Coming together. The Dark Shrine still standing by. MaxPax correctly realizing that Clem not going to be vulnerable to it, at least at this stage. Doesn't hurt to have it. But there was no real opportunity to get the damage done. And Clem, his supply just so strong. Is that Liberator? Did the Liberator finally die? It did. Here comes Clem, just lining everything up with those upgrades, even the delayed ones. Vikings on the way. Is there a third command center? Yes. Yes. Stalkers, get... He gets the Raven. It didn't have interference matrix, but just not having it at all. A single Dark Templar immediately scanned and killed. The charge lots. Widow mines are burrowing, but most of them, all but one going to... Well, actually, no. 2 more on the back. Strip away the shields of the Zealots. More DTs, cutting off the reinforcements. The Dark Templar, keeping Clem at bay. But with the combat shields, the Dark Templar don't even one-shot the Marines. Well, if they stim, somewhat amusingly, it actually does, but... Blunking in again. The tanks will siege. Widow mines hit more the Terran army than the Protoss. A good fight for MaxPax. Takes out 6 SCVs without losing too much. Bleeds out a handful of Zealots. Down goes the Sentry. So hard to keep those bubble boys alive. We'll never say that again. Immortal taking a lot of damage. Knocks out another medevac, though. As Clem being somewhat wasteful here. The Immortal tried to back off, but picked off by the concussive shells. And a big pick-off there for Clem will allow him to stay near MaxPax's base, at least for now. Gonna back up. The Viking, of all things. But there's still some Widow mines. Will likely... Good split by MaxPax, but the siege tank will stay alive. The charge lot's not going to be enough to keep Clem at bay. The Zealot try to draw fire into the SCVs, somewhat successful, but the medevac is there and heals him up as well. More charge lots to the north side. A single DT. MaxPax working on 4 bases, just finished up his 4th Nexus. And now, objective targeted by Clem. He's going through the rocks. He knows that Nexus. Yeah, he's seen it. I don't know if he's scanned or just sent something out, but he knows it's there. Warp Prism headed into an undefended main. Another warping could certainly come through. But MaxPax is supply blocked. Oh no, what a critical timing. The Widow mines take out a vanguard of Zealots, but are all triggered in the initial volley. The force field is also here. The charge lots in the main, 5 SCVs, just 1 Colossus, another one coming up. Extended Thermal Lance is not done yet. He has to get dangerously close to tiptoeing into those Marauders. The Nexus has shields stripped away. MaxPax still holding the line. 2 Colossi. Is that enough? Colossus knocked down. Charge lots from the back. Widowmine connects on top of everything. 1 Colossus taken down, but most importantly for MaxPax, the 4th base survives. Fourth command center for Clem. Trying to land. We'll find a cleverly cloaked Dark Templar underneath. Well, actually, the Templar are getting distracted here. Oh, well. On the run. Another Warp Prism, or maybe the same Warp Prism, not sure, comes in. And warps in towards the main. DT Blink is on the way. Charge lots will spot the Viking. Widowmine softened up the Prism. But Clem in a bit of a precarious position economically. He only has 54 SCVs. He's rebuilding. More charge lots into the 3rd. Bunker tucked in at the back of the mineral line. But the command center being hit. Clem will try to repair it. He's going to lose more SCVs in the process. And here come the Colossi. Another optimistic force field. Just makes it that much harder for the charge lots to engage. But 14 SCVs dead. 16. He's down under 50. Mules will drop. But 2-2 upgrades on the way for MaxPax. Means he just needs to survive. The most dangerous moments will be very soon if Clem decides to attack. MaxPax doesn't have the upgrades. He's taking another base. He doesn't have any other splash damage besides the Colossi. So he's reliant on those Colossi breaking up the Bio-Ball, especially before the upgrade's complete. Even afterwards, the Bio Army is still so dangerous. But it looks like Clem is happy to sit back and build up. Just finished the armory. Should be starting 2-2 momentarily, assuming he thinks this game will go on that long. 188 to 168 supply, and the army supply difference is massive. 128 to 92. That Nexus taking heavy hits. Putting a timer on this. The Vikings kiting back. Guardian Shield trying to help. Charge lots underneath. 2-2. +2 weapons is complete. Only one Viking left. The Colossi burning away the Marines. And MaxPax will hold the Nexus. Warp Prism. Does he remember the Widow Mine in the main? Does it matter? He manages to slip by. There's nothing here to defend. The main base is wide open. He warps in 3 Dark Templar and 3 charge lots. Meanwhile, more charge lots gunned down at the 4th. But Clem is backed up. There's still 1 DT standing by in the main. He's forced to scan again. There's only the 3 orbitals for scan. The Raven long dead. That DT waiting for its moment. Distracting Clem at a key timing right before the Disruptors. The double Ds of destruction. Dark Templar and Disruptors. The keys to victory against any Terran. And possibly the only key against Clem. He needs to keep him distracted. Clem will not be hit by Disruptors he sees coming. You need to make him look away for just any amount of time. Otherwise, he'll dance right through them. More Vikings. The Widowmine knocks out the Dark Templar. MaxPax. 10 gates. 2 robos. Clem's at 5 barracks. Going up to 8. He has 2 starports completed. Full production online. Three on the way for MaxPax. More Disruptors. The armies are coming together. +1 ship weapons for the Vikings, maybe Liberators. Widowmine. 1 brave Zealot. Well, didn't know it was coming, but still brave anyways. +3. Near max upgrades. Disruptors. Fires off a shot. Looks for the Marauders. Gets a ghost to start, but here comes Clem from the south. He's got a 270 degrees around. Disruptor shots. He splits the blue sea. Clem, he pops it before he takes the hit. And MaxPax down 40 supply. 2 Marines. Nothing in the face of the losses. Well, okay, I guess we're watching it again. Thanks, Jimmy. God, the fadeaway shot. The Vikings knock down the Colossi. And another existential force field. But Clem still has the army. 69 army supply is not nice enough. The losses mount. Clem has lost 6,000 less minerals, 1,500 less gas so far. Over 100 zealots dead. 96 marines. Another group of zealots. He's desperate for a disruptor shot, but Clem is just not going to get hit like that on the open field. 0 for 2 again. The ghost, he clips a marauder, clips a ghost. But that leaves him with no shots in the chamber. Oh no. The ghost land the EMPs. He somehow picks off a disruptor in the midst of everything. The charge lots can't get through the rocks. As he dodges, he ducks, he dips, he dives, and he dodges the disruptors in a dastardly display of deadly death ball. And now, down goes the Nexus. Comes around the corner. I don't know why he tries the force fields. Honestly, it's a little sad. The Vikings are fighting a Dark Templar on the ground. Well, actually, they were running away from it, which poses some questions. MaxPax is still maxed out. He's rebuilding a similar army. The thing is now, Clem is catching up in upgrades. There's a maximum set of upgrades. And MaxPax has had it for a while, whereas Clem is only now reaching it. He dives forward, commits his entire army, pops the only available disruptor. MaxPax warps in another round. He's trying to pick off the Medivacs. Colossus steps up and says, "You guys get in the way first." Back into the main. Marines and Marauders and Medivacs, oh my. He's using the design of his own base against him. Slurps it up, goes for the natural. Winterstarcraft might be able to pick it off. Knocks out the full Medivac. MaxPax looking to chase things down yet again. Charge lots out in front. Disruptor shot. Zealots have to pull away. Kill Zealots and Marines. Well, all the same. Clem has expanded over towards the 9 o'clock side. MaxPax continues to expand. He's still got plenty of economy and plenty of production. He just can't match Clem on the field. He has to fight a war of attrition. And, well, he's holding his own, but he has to push back. Meanwhile, Clem knocking out more. The Medivac gun down. The Viking count reground. Medivac's starting to run out of energy. He's down to... oh, it's 8. The number is 8. He has plenty of Medivacs. Concussive shells catch one of the Ruptors. Vikings getting free volleys onto the Colossi. Stalkers try to target him down. 3 Colossi, but one of them badly bruised. Steps up, knocks it down, pulls back, but Clem eats a big set of swipes from the Colossi. And down to 145 supply. 160 for MaxPax as he continues to refill. Unable to break the core of Clem's army, but getting closer and closer it seems each time. Trying to drag a Widowmine hit in. Diffuses the situation. Here come the Colossi, focused on the army. Not as easily distracted this time. The Vikings looking to knock him down, but Clem down to 120 supply. Hasn't pulled the boys, but he's thinking about it now. Stalker, well, there's still that one Colossus in the back. The Viking needs to take it out. He's kiting the one Viking back, and that last shot will take it down. The Viking is taken down in turn. 3 more SCVs down. Another wave of charge lots comes up. Charges to the front. And the Medivacs, what there are left, are almost entirely out of energy. And many of them about to be out of HP. As the Stalkers look for more, a Warp Prism comes up again. 3-3 done on both sides. Another Warp Prism is on the way. Another Colossus steps up to the plate. And we'll see if Clem can knock it out of the park. Another Sentry warped in. 9 more Stalkers. MaxPax on 13 gates. Clem dropping mules over to the 9 o'clock base. He doesn't even have a planetary to the north. MaxPax keeping the pressure on, but the income, the gap is closing, as is the supply. The fact that MaxPax was able to drag this back is a testament again to his tenacity. But Clem is still holding. It was so close to breaking through, but not close enough. Another emotional support force field. The Medivacs are nearly out of energy, and a Warp Prism gets into the main. Charge lots and DTs warped in, but he does have a scan ready. The DTs are not going to be enough, and the Warp Prism will be taken down. But this will create a bit of a lull in the action. as some of Clem's reinforcements are dragged back. He tries a medevac drop, but an observer spots it, and down goes 20 supply. 2 full medevacs sniped off, and we're back even. Ah. Well. MaxPax ready to move forward, but Clem, he's holding on to these bases. The sentry. 3 Colossi now, but medevacs with a lot of energy. DT trying to slip by. Guardian Shield helps out a bit. The Colossi forced to stutter step back, though. The Marines being cut out of the composition. The War Prism used to save the day. MaxPax is not winning these trades. He's down 10,000 minerals, 1,500 gas lost. Somehow both of them still mining from most of the bases on their side of the map. We only have the very center bases left over. A few reinforcements. What a brutal game. Somehow they both stepped it up as the series goes on. MaxPax not quite able to land a fit. Oh my god, the stop position on the SCVs was perfect. Actually trapped a Zealot. The drop to the north side going to be much more successful than MaxPax's counter. Probes being transferred. Vikings just darting forward on top of the Robos. And without the Robos, down goes a Nexus. Disruptors being re-added into the composition. Clem, only 2 starports still. 7 more probes down. Clem, a 30 supply lead. A huge gateway, well, okay. Pretty large gateway army. Headed north, but the bio from the medevacs is there. MaxPax kind of strung out across the field, whereas Clem, or he was down 20, 30 supply, now is maxed out and building a bank. MaxPax desperately needs a winning fight. Not a close one, a winning fight. He needs to knock out one of these armies, and with it, be able to take out one of the bases. But the Viking count is so damn high. The Colossi, shield battery overcharge isn't enough. Disruptor shots aren't enough. It doesn't matter how many shots you fire if you miss all of them. And the Disruptor's looking for something. He's got one more shot, and he just pops it. EMPs, nothing left. Clem drops the Vikings to the deck. The Stalkers are blinking back, but they can't get far enough. As Clem claims a decisive victory, a 3-1 match. MaxPax putting up a great fight, but Clem is at 110% today. Oh my. What a display. MaxPax still playing so well, looking for opportunities, but Clem has a way to just make it look impossible. God, some of the best Terran versus Protoss, maybe the best I've ever seen. As once again, the bar is raised. Exhausting just to watch. Well, hopefully it did make your day a little bit better, though. And if you got the means of motivation, you also check out Patreon or YouTube membership. But otherwise, I hear liking and subscribing. Still free for now. Good luck, have fun. I'll see you next time. Hope I made your day a little bit better. Thank you for watching. Stay chill.